Okay, I told myself I would wait to see if my camera actually got to 2%, or rather my phone charge got to 2%. I had some serious issues. I tried to go live earlier and it just did not work out. So, long story short, I've been trying to get a cord that worked to go live for a half an hour, it seems like. And Robin says, we were having a nice conversation without you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting how you can easily just disappear from a live cast and your phone dies and you don't know what to do about it. But I just thought I would stop back in and see if my phone's going to die again. It might die again, and I'm going to have to see what happens. Um, so, anyway, everything's all confusing now. I got way thrown off track because the live cast died, and you're running around looking for a phone for your technology, and you're thinking, what a stupid idea. Why do I care so much about charging my phone so I can get back to talking to random people on the internet? But y'all ain't random people. Robin's on here, see? And you're the only one with me. Yeah, it is just you and me. How you doing, Robin? It's not just you. It looks like somebody else joined. There's another stranger lurking in our midst. Oh shit, now there's three people. Robin, don't tell anybody what we're talking about. There were secrets. Um, in all reality, I wasn't even going to go live. I was going to make a video real quick, and then I thought, all right, I'm going to just make a quick vid and get back to watching movies or whatnot. I tried to find a cord to charge my phone, and the phone died right in the middle of a live cast. And I was like, how stupid. Just laugh at technology and the absurdity of it all. You can't really get frustrated. You have to kind of laugh at everything because it's ridiculous. Really fucking ridiculous. Um, but at the same time, it's the world we live in. So I don't even remember the original title of the first video, was, but I know where I'm coming from and how I've been feeling lately. And that's why I've been doing so many live casts. It kind of comes off the top of my head. So, in essence, I just want to talk about some of the thoughts that I have about society in general, but mostly what's going on right now. I don't want to fall into the trap of talking about COVID or politics, but I wouldn't mind talking about a little bit about being human and the complications of finding out what's normal for being a human. So, I've talked to, I don't know, hundreds of people probably online over the years, and I've talked to, you know, I don't know how many people in person as well. I've talked to a lot of shitty people, and I've talked to a lot of great people, but some people out there just have no interest in having a rational conversation, and others just don't know how to have a rational conversation. But most of all, I realize that I'm very stubborn as well. I've had some serious, very lengthy discussions with people about, I don't know, what do we want out of each other? I did a video the other day saying, what do we want out of each other and what do people want? What do people really expect for one another? And really, it's just honesty, motivation, a little bit of. There's a term called failure to thrive, which happens when people get old and they get left behind, like in nursing homes, and they just die from basically neglect, nobody caring. And then there's a fine line between that and people who push others away, so they don't want anybody to care about them, in other words. And I'm sure we all know people who kind of would rather isolate, and we also know people who are way too attached, or um, I don't know. I know some people in this world who are so dependent, that I've met through my life. Fortunately, I don't really interact with people like that in my daily life that are extremely dependent, that call me every day, that need help or whatnot. But if they do, I try to help people. It's just that I feel I care about people a lot. I have a lot of empathy for individuals, and that makes it really hard for me to I don't know. Sorry, I got thrown off. I saw menthol on here. Menthol, what the fuck, dude? Menthol's on here. Hey, brother, how you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's good to see you, menthol. Infinite Corridors, good to see you too. Hey, Carpo, just got my first pound of Guayusa tea. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of Guayusa that I actually have in my stash pile of random herbs. I probably have about 50, I think there was about 60 different herbs that I counted once, and I had them all in sample bags from over the years of buying from vendors and my vendor, and a ton of Guayusa, perfectly folded leaves, all dried, and I like it, except it has kind of a moldy look to it, and I think that's pretty common with most leaves. Maybe it's not mold, but I'm just kind of scared to drink it. Knowing what I know about plants, it's probably more common than I'd like to admit. So, anyway, menthol, what's up? Sorry to throw you off. Just wanted to say hi. No, dude, it's good to see you. You're not throwing me off at all. That's why I do live broadcasts. Something I'd never done before. Honestly, you know me. I've always just talked to the camera, post this shit. Then once in a while, I kind of get to a flow state where I'm like really into talking. It's really hard to do on a live cast. At least I thought it was. The first 5 minutes, I usually mumble myself away. It's all awkward. And then I get to talking to people and I get to really interact. Feel like I get to really talk to people. And I know Menthol, a lot of you know Menthol. He's, a lot of us talked about Kratom back in 2016, 17, 18. It was kind of a letdown to realize YouTube would censor us and not allow us to talk about certain things. And a lot of people walked away. Menthol was one of those people. And I don't blame him, honestly. It was hard for me to stay with YouTube with all their bullshit. But I do it because I have to express myself. There's no other way I can do it. And so Robin says, fine line between isolation and solitude. Yes, sister, you got that right. Uh-oh, says low battery. I better fix that problem here. Make sure it's working. Yeah, there's a fine line. Sorry if this camera does die. It's my phone, and I've done everything I can to try to do a live broadcast. So tomorrow, if it doesn't work, tomorrow I'll make sure it's charged when I start. But Robin says there's a fine line between isolation and solitude. I completely agree. I don't like to talk about specific people. And one of the ironies, I mean, not irony, it's not the right, I guess one of the shortcomings or difficulties in talking online about your feelings is that our feelings are so often caused and influenced by those around us. So, for example, my family's in there. We were watching Iron Man or whatnot, and I was in there trying to get my cord. So if I come out here and start talking shit about somebody I live with, which I wouldn't, don't get me wrong, I actually am very grateful for everyone I know, my family, my friends, my connections. Even when people take things too seriously or don't understand me, I realize that that's part of being human. So, like you were saying, there's a fine line between isolation and solitude. You're absolutely correct, because I have friends and family who do isolate, people that I know, and acquaintances, people I've met online that I talk to now and again, people I can just tell by their demeanor and after talking to them that isolation is carrying them away from other people. Menthol into bed. Well, respect, brother. Respect, Menthol. I love you, brother. Sleep well, my friend. I appreciate you coming by. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Sometimes when we separate ourselves from our daily life and our connections, what's happening right now in society. People are getting overly sensitive about the bullshit that's going on. I know that COVID-19, the financial situation, or just the icing on the cake of a fucked up year, in a fucked up decade, in a fucked up century where technology has just become, overbearing and people don't know where to turn. They don't know where the future is going to take them. And so a lot of people do isolate. And I think that the greatest strength we can have is not being an island, but being a continent. Not incontinent, but working together. And the idea that no man is an island, but you have to be an island. You have to be able to to protect yourself, defend yourself, know what you stand for, but at the same time be flexible and say, if somebody else thinks something, I really don't give a shit. I know too many people over the years who have just been offended by my opinion, and I've stepped back and constantly analyzed: is it me? Is it me? Is it the way I think? Am I saying something offensive that I shouldn't say because the other person is, I don't know. It happens with friends and family. People totally misunderstand me, and that's okay. That's okay. Because as long as you come out shaking hands, it's not a big deal. Um, what's up, St. Ainsley? He says, do you cook? I bet you can make a mean pasta sauce with all your herb knowledge. Oh man, yeah, cooking is an art. The truth is, I don't cook very often anymore, but I really, it's funny you would say pasta, because one of my specialties is uh, fettuccine alfredo. But I'm a very steak and taters kind of guy. Ask my wife, man. Not a lot of spices, not a lot of extras. I don't really do much garlic or onions or greeneries or any type of spices. Honestly, I like pepper, I like salt, I like some basics. There's a couple spices I like, but don't you dare put any type of cilantro in my food, or you'll be punished for a lifetime. I do not like cilantro. I'm one of those people. Can't stand it. But anyhow, I'm just gonna make this pretty brief. I don't have a lot to say. I'm deleted, so once the link's deleted, it's impossible to remember and exactly tie together what I wanted to talk about. But it was 719 when I finally got this thing started, which is kind of my screen name. And a lot of people have asked me, where do you get 719? It was my old address. It's that simple. Share Bear says, battery dying? Yes, it does. It dies regularly. Share, hey Share. Carapo, it's good to Carapo. I love how Carpo comes out when people use their auto spell, unless that was on purpose. So good to see you. Everything's going. My husband loves your channel, the philosophy, and as a couple, we've learned a lot from you. I believe I just wanted to say thanks. I'm going to tell you this, Cher. In all honesty, that feels awkward to me. When somebody says that them and their wife or whatnot have, or a couple or an individual have listened and gained something, and it's really weird because I have listened to like Bo, the Fifth Column. He's kind of a liberal dude who talks a lot about politics, and he's become more popular over time. He just sits in his garage kind of like I do, but he talks about things that I don't want to talk about, and I'm not very interested in politics, but I do try to cover them for what it's worth. But I just want people to know that this channel is going to be going through some changes in the next few months. I'm probably going to be moving these live broadcasts to my secondary channel, which is my Carpo's World of Thoughts. Either that, or I'm going to leave them here and then use Carpo's World of Thoughts as my channel for carpentry, because as I mentioned before, I'm finally getting myself motivated to do something that I've been wanting to do for years. There's nothing worse than punishing ourselves when we finally get motivated to do something we really wanted to do and say, I should have fucking done this sooner, man. I'm an idiot. I should have done this sooner. So I'm going to be marketing my own brass knuckles because I love violence and I really want to share that with the world. And I can't even take it. I can't even crack a joke because so many of my subscribers would take me seriously. Like whenever I make a joke, it's funny because I wanted to do some skits and record some funny skits, and I have a really dry, dark sense of humor where I don't really explain where I'm coming from, so I kind of have to let people know I'm joking. But I've had these are whatever, brass knuckles, knives, things like that. No, I'm not a violent person, of course not. I would never attack anyone, but if somebody fought me, I'd have to defend myself, of course. The point being that we're misunderstood by so many people. all of us, each one of you, sometime in your life have said something where you have been misunderstood by your friends or family or somebody you love. Or perhaps you were understood just fine, except for you said something you shouldn't have said. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at as a society. We're so triggered by what each other say that we can't really agree on anything. We can't agree on a purpose for life. We can't agree on a purpose for a society, a nation. It's like we're all growing up as a species, you know? It's really awkward. It's really awkward talking with people and realizing that we're all just babies. We're all just babies, man. You will be judged by people. Doesn't matter who you are, what you think. Low battery, it says. Here we go. Phone's about to die. Anyway, it doesn't matter who you are. You will be judged by someone. You will be judged by yourself. The best we can do is just try to make it through this life and be as positive as we can most of the time we can. But that requires caring about one another. That requires building a society that's acceptable and tolerable, where you can hang out with your neighbors and not worry about what other people think of you, to not worry about what your friends think of you or your family if they have some completely misconstrued or misunderstood view of who you are. Now, we all care about what other people think about us. You can't deny that. We have to care. We have to have a certain degree of acceptance that we can't judge ourselves as well as others can. But ultimately, what I've found is most people don't want to talk about that. The minute you start talking about things like that, it's like, look, I've made 4,000 videos on my channel. Okay, that's a lot of videos. It's like a holy fucking shit thing to me. I can't even believe it. And sometimes I think, what a waste of time. And I think, what is time? If it helps me and it moves me and a few people enjoy it, fine, so be it. But what have I learned in that time? What can I gain from looking back at? I don't really look at the stats or anything, but I want to know what kind of subjects people don't want to hear about. And I find that most people don't want to hear about reality. Most people don't. The videos that have the least interaction or the least views are the ones that talk about life things. Believe it or not, you know, if people want to hear about life, then they want to hear about something positive, affirmations, some sort of a motivational speech. Nobody wants to hear that everybody suffers a little bit and there's no way out and that you have to create your own reality. They want to think that they just need to hustle a little harder or work a little harder towards their own positive thinking, which, believe me, I've thought that before too. It's a balance. Life is a balancing act between happiness and depression and anxiety. You're never going to feel consistent. You have to realize that as a human, we always feel kind of ups and downs, and it just is what it is, right? So, I guess that's all I had to say. It's been a 20-minute chat. I think that's about long enough. Thanks for listening, and the holidays are coming. It's going to be crazy. But it's also going to be very simple for most people because nobody's traveling anywhere. I don't mean crazy in the sense of the holidays as far as the labels we put on them, but rather what's probably coming as far as the COVIDs and the lockdowns and all that stuff. But I don't even want to talk about that. I'll get into it in a future video. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to y'all later. Be well, my friends.